Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jane and today I'm doing the reader problems tag. So I've done a few tags before and tags are always so fun because you get to know me more through the questions, and also the questions are usually really fun and really interesting. So I decided to do today the reader problems tag, all the problems we have as readers and how I am dealing with those problems. So let's get started. First question. You have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next? So usually I'm a mood reader, and what I really love to do when I'm deciding what to read next is to take a few books that I think I'm in the mood to read them, and I love to sit down and read all the synopses of all the books that I chose and understand which books has the vibes that I'm looking for right now. So I just love to sit and relax. It's always a good time because I just looking at all the books and I'm deciding what I really want to read next. But actually, since I opened my booktube, I have more fixed TBR because you have readathons and you have buddy reads and you have a lot of challenges. So when I'm choosing the book for my TBR, it's usually the book that I need to read the most. If I'm doing a themed reading vlog or a binge reading episode, usually read what I decided to read before. Depends on what I think is the best for my channel right now. So yes, if I have time to pick which book I want, so I will just read a lot of synopses and understand in which mood I am right now. But sometimes I need to read specific books for my booktube channel. So in this case, I just choose what is best for the channel and what I need to read next. Second question. You're halfway through a book, but you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? Okay, so it really depends on the book. If this book is a part of a series, especially if this is a sequel to a book that I really loved, I'm likely more to push myself and to keep read more because I already loved the first book, so I have hopes to love also the second or the fourth. I do try to DNF books when I not love them, and I also really encourage others to DNF books because we don't have all the time in the world and it's better for us to read something that we actually enjoy. But unfortunately, I still need to work on it. No matter how much I tell myself that I need to DNF a book, I usually really stubborn and I force myself to keep reading because I really want to finish the book. I just never want to give up and I really want to keep reading, especially in series. Like I said, it already happened to me that I didn't like one book from a series, but the rest of the books were really good. And usually if I don't like a book from a series, I force myself to keep reading until the end because the end is usually the more intense part. And if I don't like this book at all, also in the end, I usually DNF the series after I finish reading the book. But yes, I need to work on it more and I need to DNF books more because I really think that DNFing is good. So yes, usually I'm really stubborn. I'm not DNFing a lot of books, but I really want to DNF more. Question 3. The end of the year is coming and you are so close but so far away from your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try to catch up and how? Okay, so if it's realistic, so yes. Because if I have 100 books to complete the goal and I have only a week to read 100 books, so it's not realistic. Although you have graphic novels. But yes, if it's realistic, I will do anything to complete the goal because I really love challenges. I always think that there is a lot of ways to read books fast. First of all, like I said, you have graphic novels and I love graphic novels so much. You have also a lot of comics series and graphic novel series and a lot of really short volumes. You can read graphic novels really fast. Usually it takes me between half an hour to 2 hours. And also not only graphic novels. If I need to read as much as possible, I will just read a lot of short books. I'm talking about 200 pages because those books I can finish in few hours. So yes, if the reading goal is realistic, I will try to do anything to complete it. Question 4. The covers of a series that you love do not match. How do you cope? Okay, so I really hate when this happens. It really bothers me when books not go well together. This is the fun part of a series, that you have a lot of books that look really good together. And I also really hate when there is cover change changes, and when a new book comes only in a new cover. I talked about it in my old versus new cover changes, but I really hate it because not everyone has only the new covers. And like, if I already have the old covers, I don't want to buy the books I already have in the new covers for everything to match. So yes, I really hate when it happens. Sometimes I just need to deal with it because I don't have nothing to do about it. But in this case, I usually think about maybe reading the book that don't match in an ebook. It really depends on the book and on the series. But yes, I just really hate when covers don't match together. Question 5. Everyone and their mothers love a book that you don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? Okay, so especially if it's a really hyped up book, I don't think this is a really huge problem to find someone who thinks like you. This is probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for someone who feels like me. Goodreads reviews are the easiest way to find someone because you just see what they are thinking about the book. And you know, you have Twitter, Instagram. Like again, if this is an hyped up book, more people are likely to read this, and there isn't a book in the world that everyone loves. So I'm sure that I can find someone who shares my feelings. Question 6. You're reading a book and you are about to start crying in public. How do you deal? So I never cried in public when I read a book. Sometimes my eyes get a little bit wet, but I usually just blink a lot until I don't have tears in my eyes anymore. And like, if I'm going to start crying in public, which I don't want to do, I usually just stop reading and like relax. And like I said, blink a lot so I don't have tears in my eyes anymore. So yes, that's what I usually do when I'm about to start crying in public. Question 7. A sequel to a book that you love just came out, but you forgot a lot from the prior novel. Will you read the book, skip the sequel, try to find the synopsis on Goodreads, or do you just cry? So this is one of the reasons that I really love to binge reading series. I really love to read straight away and not forgetting too much, but I can't always binge read series, especially series that are new releases and you have only the first book released. So in this case, usually I just dive in right into the sequel. Like, I don't know, I never thought about rereading the first book. I usually not the kind that rereads books. I do want to reread books more because I don't do it a lot, and there is a lot of really good books that I loved and I really want to read. It just feels a lot to me because reading a book takes a lot of hours. It's not like rewatching a movie that takes only 2 hours. So yes, I usually not rereading a book, but I guess that it depends on the book. If I'm really forgot everything, if this is a book that I really love, so maybe I will reread it, but usually I just dive in right into the sequel. And until now I didn't have a lot of problems because after a few pages I start to remember everything. Question 8. You picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slam? Okay, so reading slams are the worst. It's like the worst feeling ever, especially if there's a lot of books that you want to read but you are not enjoying anything. But I usually find that the best way to overcome a reading slam is just not forcing yourself to read. Like, there is always so many books on your TBR, and I usually try to read like as much as possible because I really want to read a lot. But all of this is really overwhelming sometimes, and forcing yourself to keep reading and like to read another book and another book when you don't want to read is usually going to put me in more of a reading slam. So yes, I think that relaxing and not thinking about reading, not feeling bad that you are not reading, is the best way to overcome a reading slam. Just don't force yourself to read. Don't feel about it that you are not reading enough and you are not always in the mood, also not for your most favorite hobbies. So yes, I just try not to force myself to read because it makes me just more stressed about reading, and relaxing is the best way to overcome a reading slam. Question 9. There is so many books coming out that you are dying to read. How many do you actually buy? Okay, so I think that I have a problem because I really buy too many books. Like, I feel this is another addiction, just to buy a lot of books. And I do feel that I buy too many books, but I actually have a reason. Because I live in Israel, I don't have a huge variety of English books in bookstores, and most of the English books that I buy I order. But again, because I live in Israel, it takes a lot of time to books to get here. Like, for me, 2 weeks until a book gets here is the best case scenario. Sometimes it's over a month and sometimes with delays, and there is a lot of delays because of all the situation right now. Sometimes it also can take up to 2 months. So yes, I just buy a lot of books because it takes a lot of time to books to get here, and I truly think that if I lived in a country with more variety of English books in bookstores, I wouldn't buy as much books as I'm buying now. Right now I'm buying a lot of books because I just don't have a lot of variety here, and if I really want to read physically a book that I don't have, I usually need to wait at least 2 weeks, and like I said, it sometimes can get delayed. So yes, this is the reason that I buy a lot of books. But I try to read more ebooks and more audiobooks recently because they are also usually more cheap, and sometimes they are free with a subscription. So yes, I buy a lot of books, but that's because it takes a lot of time to books to get here. But I'm trying to buy less books because, like I said, it's really a problem. Question 10. After you buy the new books that you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you get to them? Okay, so books sit a long time on my TBR. I'm talking about months. But like I said, one of the reasons is because it takes so much time to books to get here. So my physical TBR is really big because I prefer that books will be here with me, that I know that I will eventually read. Because if I will want to read them physically and I don't have them, I just need to wait a lot of time until they get here. But except it, also if I see books on discount, I usually will buy them. Also if I'm not planning to read them soon. And sometimes I also read books, depends on an event or on a season or on an holiday. I have a few books that takes place during summer, like Beach Read, which I really want to read, but I'm planning to read it when summer will get more close. But I already bought it because it was in a good price. So sometimes I just buy books. Also if I know that it will take months until I will read them because there is a good price or because this is a good time to buy this book. So yes, my physical TBR is really huge, but again, that's because I don't have the privilege of going out and buying a book from a bookstore whenever I want. If I really want to read physically a book and I don't have it, I just need to wait a lot of time. And yes, this is the reader problem star. The questions were so fun. Tags are always really interesting, like I already said, and it was so great doing it today. I'm uploading 2 times a week on Sundays and Wednesdays, but until the next video you can check more videos by me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!